Welcome back to Access All Areas. Dr. Peter Larkins joins Damien Barrett and I. Hello, Doc.
Nice to have you back, Das. Thanks.
Good to be back, Doc. North Melbourne had a great win, but a couple of casualties.
They've been in good form while you've been away, but players are important to keep them up. And Lee Adams, while you're away, we talked about his left shoulder. We're having a subluxation or partial dislocation. And this weekend we see him come in at just the simplest of tackles. The left arm goes completely out and stays out dislocated. And us, we talked about how long Brad Scott would be prepared, I suppose, to put up with that, because we had the Chris Judd incident, which was his right shoulder. 2 weeks ago, the left one came out. He got up, missed one game, came back, it's gone out again. So you'd have to think North will have to make a hard decision about whether to keep. Well, I think so. I mean, from my point of view, you can't have a player going out the first 5 minutes of the game as you get into these critical games. And so now that he's had 2 in 2 weeks, off the back it was already sore because he had the strapping on it. So I think they'll probably have to make the decision to have a shoulder reco.
Daniel Wells, same game, calf.
Yeah, very important to running. Calf injuries we talk about, they're 3 or 4 weeks. You just see the incident here where he goes down and he feels the go in the back of the calf. It was early on in the match, so they were 2 down after the Lee Adams shoulder story, and he does gesture to the bench and indicate, and they try to have an assessment, had a look at him. But look, being a muscle injury, the scan has showed a little bit of damage there. Historically, the calf injuries are a 3-match thing, even with this low-level one, and some will go longer. So you'd expect that he's going to be missing for that period of 2 or 3 as a minimum, Daniel was.
Disappointing for North Melbourne, 2 guns there. Nick Riewoldt's knee, Doc, have you got any latest news on that?
Well, it was a big story. I mean, look, this is the knee he's had so much trouble with ever since year 2000. He's had a couple of arthroscopes, no PCL. And this hyperextension, he grabs the back and he was very sore for the first few minutes, Das, and couldn't put weight through it at all. Actually, he was on crutches for a period of time. Had a scan during the match, which is innovative, came back, and they said no structural damage, and then said just a split tendon behind the knee. Now, I'll put it to you, Das, that all the tendons are important behind the knee. There is one that people can play with, the so-called popliteus. But look, I think this will be a sore knee. Of the history that he's had trouble with it, especially in 08 and 09 when he couldn't actually extend the knee. So I'm expecting this to be a 2 or 3 week injury to protect him, hopefully.
Is it possible it's worse than that, Doc? That the scans that they're still waiting for are going to reveal something a whole lot worse?
I'm not sure. I heard they're going to do more scans. I mean, they're just check scans. He had the right scan at the time with the ultrasound and things like that was done. But he'll have bruising in the knee. And look, I'm not expecting him to play on the big Friday night's game. And I expect it'll be a couple of weeks from that.
Cyril Rioli's shoulder, Doc?
Yeah, look, it was more the back of the shoulder. He gets a big hit. You see Chaplin come here and just collect him more in the scapula. We talk about Carazzo with the broken scapula. You see the hunchback he's got there, the big ice pack over the back. He had to get subbed out. Couldn't lift the left arm at all. So scans being checked again on that. There's a possibility he's got a little crack in the shoulder blade. And if that's the case with Cyril, then there's a couple of weeks going to keep him out.
What about his teammate who's missed 5 now with what at the time was said to be a minor hamstring, Buddy Franklin?
Yeah, we go back to round 14. You think of that little bit of an incident where he played round 15. He's now had 5 matches off. And normally I'd be saying he has to have had a recurrence. The club deny that, Damo. They say he hasn't had a recurrence. They're just being protective of him. He's
5 weeks
training. Well, 5 weeks is not standard. You know, even in the best of terms where I think we get him back too quickly in footy, we say 3 matches or 4 matches. So 5, you know, it's high up left hamstring. So it's in the tendon area. So it is potentially a bit slower. I'm still suspicious he's had a setback, even though they haven't said it, and hence he's been out for the 5 rounds. They're going to train him again this week with the option of getting him up, and they've said he's not a given to play this coming week, So that would be extraordinary for the guy who was on track for a Coleman medal to miss 6 matches.
Also had some trouble with Josh Gibson, had to leave the field again twice.
Yeah, he missed a couple of weeks early in the year with the right ankle injury. He's been playing a bit sore with it, and here he actually lands on his teammate Ben Stratton and does the similar outside roll. You see the insert there, the right ankle goes across. He left the ground, had further treatment on it, played out the game sore. And again, just, you know, normally when this happens, you're going to find that the player really struggles the week after to get up again. So I will be surprised if Gibson can train early in the week. They'll obviously do all the physio and things and hopefully get him up again. But because it's the second time this year he's had that ankle injury, there's a chance he'll miss.
Doc, what have you got for us on Kurt Tippett? It's, as you know, it's a serious concussion issue. The AFL's involved. Some doubt about him playing for the rest of the year in the eyes of some. What have you got for us?
Oh, look, I think that's unlikely that he'll be missing the rest of the year. I mean, the incident in round 17 has resulted in 3 matches missed so far. He's ticked every box except the detailed concussion test. So he's training fully. He's got no symptoms at all. And you might say, just have a conversation with you or me, you couldn't pick anything wrong with him. But we go by this concussion test, which we've said is very standard now. He's failed it in the last 2 weekends in a row, despite the fact that he trained fully. So this week he'll be training normally. There's no sort of ongoing symptoms. The concussion concussion test, the magic test that we talk about, Damo, is keeping him out. I'd be really surprised if it goes much longer than this, but Rowan Bale in Melbourne missed 4 weeks, and even though he trained fully, so there's another player that's the same thing's happened. But I wouldn't expect it's going to keep him out for the rest of the year.
Doc, I was with you in Sydney on Saturday night. Dale Thomas copped a cork thigh early in the game. Is he going to play this week?
He struggled on, but look, cork thighs normally come up the following week. You see Mike Pike land on. This is in the first quarter, Darcy. He comes off and he was pretty sore and he wanted to play in this match. It was an important one for the Pies. At quarter time, they did ice him up, but he really only got a couple more minutes out of it before he was subbed out with that red vest. Look, I expect him to play, yeah. I mean, normally 80% of the corks are going to get up, and because they took him out early, I think they did the right thing and they sort of literally iced him out of the game early.
A couple of other Pies out of that game looked a bit sore. Pendlebury firstly and then Jolly.
Yeah, well, Pendlebury was getting treatment during the match on the sideline for a really sore back, and, you know, afterwards he was struggling in the rooms a little bit, so he's obviously carrying that around with him, and so he'll be getting the physio treatment and hopefully get up. Darren Jolly for 2 weeks in a row has been hit. He missed round 18, got hit right back in the ribs, got a knee again from big Shane Mumford, and was really sore, breathing hard at the end of the match. He's pretty sore, but he's been tough, Darren Jolly, so important to them.
And Tom Hawkins Friday night, really bad crash there at Subiaco. Caught the red-eye flight home, though.
Came back, yeah. His girlfriend had to drive his car back to get him home, but look, it's so
Friday night against St Kilda, will he play?
Yes, he will. I think he will. I mean, he was very, very good afterwards. As I said before, we're talking about Tippett. The concussion test has to be undertaken. He'll have it a couple of times. Symptom-wise, he's good, so he hasn't got any lingering feeling of unwell, but he'll go through the process. It's only early in the week at this stage, and they'll leave it right up. I mean, obviously, they have to make a decision by Friday. That gives them 4 more days to go through. He's been resting peacefully for the last 2 days, not straining his eyes, not watching too much television, not watching too much Olympics, and he should be right to go on the basis of how he's recovered so far. But I'll mention Tippett again because we thought he was training well, and so Geelong will do the right thing, but critical game for the Cats, isn't it?
Outstanding as always, Doc. Well done to you, Damo, and I'll be tuning in Friday when Damo is back with Lee Matthews on Friday's edition of Access All Areas. But for us now, it's goodbye. We'll see you next Monday.